I'm Maria Fontanazza, Director of Content for MedAd News, and I'm here with Ken Begasse Jr. and Enslow Kable of Song Life. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
So let's start with the positioning that Song Life has established of driving relevance at the speed of life. Can you tell me what that means for pharma today, and what are you doing to achieve that?
Sure. I think when you look at people responsible for growth in today's pharmaceutical market, they're really faced with two questions. Relevance, how do I keep up and with the needs of my customer and make sure that I'm showing up where it matters most? And then keeping up with the pace of change, both in terms of customer expectations, the marketplace, technology. And those two questions aren't to be answered individually. They really need to be answered together. So when we talk about relevance at the speed of life, it's really defining what is that experience that's going to deliver impact on a continual basis, and being able to be ready to deliver upon those needs in today's fast-paced market.
In bringing together brand purpose, customer experience, and business readiness, tell us why that's becoming the new operational model for growth.
Well, as Ken just spoke about, relevance is kind of everything. It's been the game that we've been chasing for quite a long time in terms of driving relevance for our therapies, driving and customer, patient, HCP relevance. But we've been doing that with, I don't want to say antiquated, but very traditional campaign-oriented tactics. Right? We put something out, we expect people to become aware of it, they are educated, et cetera. With the advent of Gen AI and in the increased access to data, we can now do this at pace. It's very hard to harness that, but that's where business readiness comes into play. So driving the relevance at the speed at which the market demands, that's not only the market demanding the pace of change around evolving Gen AI tactics, it's also how consumer behaviors are changing at pace as well. So if you're doing those two things, if you're trying to drive the right customer experience, you need to have the business readiness to actually pull it off. And purpose is critical. So agencies and brand marketers have been talking about brand purpose forever. We're using purpose in a bit more of an expansive way. So what is the purpose? What's your commercial purpose? What are the outcomes that you're trying to drive? How is the brand a reflection of that? So when you understand the outcomes that you're trying to drive and you're marrying that with the right customer experience to drive them and the business readiness to pull it off, it's all three of those things working together to really achieve the outcome that you've set.
And Ken, in bringing kind of all those elements together, how must leaders today in this intelligence age navigate that?
It all starts with who are you and what matters most to your customer. So once you have a very clear vision, I think it's important for you to really do an assessment of how you want to show up with that customer every day. Once those two parts are set, then it's really about reinventing how you're going to actually deliver upon that. And that is the readiness part that I think is often the one piece that actually we haven't been able to really change from a marketing perspective, and for many years. As Enslow said, brand marketing and advertisers have been long looking to achieve connection with their customers and setting ambitious purposes, but often have failed in the delivery of that. With Gen AI, and obviously in the age of intelligence, we now have the engine to be able to mine the data that has been sitting in our vaults for decades, to be able to put actual insights into market quickly. And I think it's about not only speed to market, but speed in market. And I think once we're able to reinvent the way we partner with clients and the way clients actually are structured, to be able to harness the power of AI, we'll be able to continue to drive that relevance at the speed of life.
So how are you pulling all of that in, what you're talking about in the intelligence age, and bringing it downstream to navigate the relationship between CMOs and the C-suite?
That is not an easy feat, actually. Ken and I met with a bunch of marketers kind of working at the brand level a few weeks ago. And we were talking with them a lot about the pilots that they're running. There's a lot of kind of internal work that clients are doing more and more as they're seeking to really capitalize on a Gen AI-enabled future. And we were talking about how their traditional partners, more agencies than anything else at this point, are kind of struggling to keep up with where they're already moving from a tools perspective. So you have brand marketers doing pilots, and then you have the C-suite trying to drive an enterprise agenda. And it's not that there's a disconnect between the two necessarily, but marketers are trying to get things done because they need to drive their business. And the C-suite's operating at that level as well, but they are trying to paint a bigger picture and advance the cause for the future. And so we come in and kind of marry the two. Set the vision for the enterprise, operating at the C-suite level, but as well at the brand marketer level. You really need to stop and take a moment. I'm not talking about a very long moment, but to set the agenda for the marketing organization writ large. So what's the role of the marketer moving forward in your organization? And what kind of people, tech, talent, et cetera, do you need to pull off that role? What are you going to keep in-house? What are you going to turn to external partners for? And that needs to be a partnership at the C-suite level with the brand marketers involved, so it's working for both.
And what are you going to value? You know, what that role is based on what you value from an enterprise level, because that will set the tone both internally and externally for the culture that you're going to be building. I think pharma is going to be going through a massive transformation and understanding culturally how they need to begin to evolve if they are going to show up relevant to their customers when you're competing against emerging health tech players and you know, new models popping up all over the place.
And so how is Song Life helping clients achieve their growth smarter, more efficiently, perhaps faster?
Well, I think first and foremost, you know, again, we are mining that massive data that we have at our fingertips. There's just an opportunity that exists there that we really haven't been able to truly, I think, tap with our current with the current restraints of very FTE focused, slow, and sometimes often forgotten data. That's where the engine that we have built, you know, with our AI capabilities allows us to drive precise insight mining tools to help our clients be able to predict where they need to go. Because again, most of our clients are entering into markets faster than they've ever had before, accelerating that process because the markets that they're entering into are highly competitive. There's been years in the past where we were developing markets more. Now we have some of the pipeline is really kind of entering into highly competitive markets that exist already. So speed to market, speed within market, and your kind of ability to maneuver in market is going to be an advantage for our clients. And so that combination of understanding how our foundation of data, the engine of AI to help do it, more nimble and more diverse teams. So we've kind of deconstructed the way an agency team looks like because the needs of the client have changed dramatically, and those traditional models are not working. And then finally, you know, let's remove some of the antiquated measures of what really an agency and a client partnership looks like. Let's get more together with shared outcomes as really what we're driving, as opposed to just content delivery and content development. Let's move away from rate cards and start having more of a kind of partnership agreement, a valued partnership agreement of how we're going to drive measurable impact for the brand. And I think that's ultimately what we've kind of reinvented here with the Accenture Song Life model is not being boxed into an AOR, but being more of a growth partner.
All right, Ken, let's talk about operational models. So we all know that patients, payers, healthcare provider organizations, and expectations are continuing to evolve.
Yeah.
What are commercial organizations doing to reimagine their operating models to deliver relevance in real time?
What we've seen is a little bit more of a blending. Some of our smaller clients do it because they have to be more agile and nimble. I think they're better positioned sometimes to be able to adapt at the realities of the new marketplace and these rising expectations. But we're also seeing, and we're obviously at Accenture, we're being tapped by our clients to kind of reimagine and reinvent their commercial operations. And what we're seeing is that there's really a need for all three of those customer representatives or stakeholders internally to come together. And that's also what we've assembled here at Accenture Song Life. You know, our strategic capabilities from as far upstream as, you know, commercial operations and commercial strategy, all the way through, you know, engagement and experience strategy. We are blending those teams together. And this allows us to not only inform the process earlier, but also shape it as we kind of go through this accelerated process of getting a product positioned prior to market, obviously driving that relevant customer experience that we've identified, and being able to continue to adapt and learn.
Accenture Song Life, the healthcare set of capabilities that we have within Accenture Song coming together is really designed to respond to the current state of the market, which is our commercial strategy capabilities. And Ken always calls this from molecule to market. The ability for clients to have a real growth partner that can work with them all the way upstream in the clinical trial space through to, okay, you know, an end of life product, all like looking out for their best interest, not looking to launch campaigns with a performance mindset, this kind of skin in the game mentality. I think that's what is needed right now. And I think that's what our clients are looking for. We also have the unique capability of helping them transform themselves. Like we've been on a transformation journey to come up with what we think the market needs right now, but our clients are also on a transformation, or as we call it, reinvention journey themselves to understand, you know, who they need to be in this evolving landscape. So we have the ability to help them transform and understand where they should bring in partners along that way. And so it's a unique set of capabilities in the marketplace that can help clients like in this moment of like, you know, significant change.
Smarter, faster, and ultimately a better experience and better outcomes for our clients.